Okay, let's explore this. We're opening this deep dive on a really urgent and pretty dramatic note.
Mm.
In these modern geopolitical crises, access to information, it's not just a convenience anymore. It becomes a critical vulnerability.
It's a weapon.
It is a weapon. And we are diving deep into what's been happening in Venezuela.
Yeah.
This is a situation where, right after these reported U.S. military operations, thousands of citizens just found themselves completely cut off.
Digitally isolated at the worst possible moment.
Exactly. But this isn't just a story about, say, failing infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's much more complex.
Yeah.
It's a clash between a sophisticated state-level strategy of information control
And the people on the ground.
and the really ingenious acts of digital resistance from citizens just trying to stay connected. Our mission today is to really unpack that.
Yeah, to get into the mechanics of it.
We're going to look at the anatomy of the shutdown, the
Yeah.
government's playbook for digital control, and then the incredible workarounds people are using.
The resistance part is fascinating.
It is. Now, this entire deep dive is drawn from a single, really detailed source.
We had a massive stack of data to go through.
We did. It was provided by our partner, pressreleasecloud.io.
They're your multi-channel content distribution partner.
That's right. And they gave us their extensive analysis. It's titled, Venezuela Internet Changes and Restrictions Explained. So that's our foundation for this whole conversation.
And that data, it immediately puts this whole situation into, a pretty concerning global trend. This isn't the first time we've seen this.
No.
Regimes have been using internet restrictions to manage political crises for a while now. But what's happening in Venezuela is an acceleration.
An acceleration.
Yeah. I mean, this acute crisis, it's not starting from zero. It's building on years of just rapidly deteriorating infrastructure and a very established pattern of increasing government control.
So what really stands out in the source material?
The sheer drama of the response. We're going to talk about the explosive surge in people using the Tor network for anonymity. And then there's Starlink's offer. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. Free access for over 2 years.
Until February 3, 2026. That specific date really stands out.
It really does. And on top of that, we have crucial confirmation from independent monitoring groups that these blackouts, they're strategic. They are not just random failures.
That date, February 3, 2026, it feels like a concrete marker in the sand.
Well,
it shows just how long-term this intervention could be.
It does.
Let's start by looking at the physical battlefield here.
To really get what's happening now, you have to understand the baseline, the fragility.
Okay.
Venezuela's digital infrastructure was, for lack of a better word, collapsing. Internet speeds were already among the slowest in all of Latin America.
So this was a problem long before the current crisis.
Oh, for years. You're talking about a system just suffering from chronic underinvestment, corruption, frequent outages. That was the normal.
And that fragility just made the whole network vulnerable to any kind of shock.
Exactly. Whether that shock was intentional or, external.
And that fragility turned critical very recently. The source says the most acute disruptions line up almost perfectly with U.S. military operations in the area.
That's right. Reports confirmed it. Large parts of Caracas especially experienced complete power failures right after military strikes.
And when the power goes out.
The communication infrastructure goes with it. It's a cascading failure.
What's so interesting is how the government's response seems to exploit that physical weakness. It gives them plausible deniability, right?
That's the key. Plausible deniability. If the power goes out, they can just say, oh, the internet failure is just collateral damage.
It lets them avoid the bad look of flipping a single national kill switch. So it's not a simple on-off switch. How does that work technically?
Exactly. Instead of one big blackout, the source describes it as manifesting in 3 ways. First, you have rolling outages.
Power and internet going out in different zones at different times.
Right. Then you have the targeted blocking of specific platforms.
Things critical to the opposition, I'd imagine.
Precisely. And third, significant throttling. Just slowing things down so much that services like video calls become basically unusable even if you still have a connection. It's a war of attrition on your bandwidth.
And this all ties back to that fundamental weakness. Power and internet are they're completely linked.
Inextricably. The internet service providers, they just don't have sufficient backup power.
We're not talking about big, robust generators.
No, not at all. Think basic battery backups that fail really quickly. If the main grid goes down for even a few minutes, it can knock out internet access for hours afterward.
Which is why the third-party verification from a group like NetBlocks is so important.
It's critical. They're the independent monitors, and their findings basically confirmed this wasn't just a coincidence.
It wasn't just routine failure happening at the same time as military activity.
No, they confirmed significant systematic disruptions in parts of Caracas that correlated precisely with the timing of those operations.
And their data gave us I guess you could call it the smoking gun.
It did.
They didn't just see a general drop in traffic. They saw sudden, simultaneous drops in connectivity across multiple providers, all at once.
And that kind of synchronized failure is a huge tell. It strongly indicates a centralized disruption, someone pulling a lever, not just a few isolated technical glitches.
And the geographic patterns told the story too.
Yes, their analysis showed the outages were heavily concentrated in politically significant areas, places known for being opposition-heavy. The disruption wasn't random, it was selective.
Okay, so we have this fragile infrastructure being exploited by these strategic power cuts. Let's layer on top of that the digital control mechanism.
Exactly, because the technical limits we just talked about, they exist within this long-established, sophisticated playbook for digital control.
That didn't just pop up overnight.
Not at all. This framework goes way back, predating the current crisis. It started in the early 2010s with, simple website blocking.
And evolved from there.
To much more sophisticated filtering technologies.
And the legal side of things runs in parallel, giving the government a huge hammer to wield.
A perfect example is the 2017 Law Against Hate.
The source mentions this law uses extremely vague prohibitions against content promoting fascism, hatred, or intolerance.
And that vagueness is the whole point.
Of course.
That kind of language gives authorities basically unlimited flexibility to target opposition voices, journalists, anyone they see as a threat.
And it must create a profound chilling effect.
It does. Even when the technical blocks aren't active, the threat of legal action, getting detained or prosecuted under this law, it becomes this powerful tool for self-censorship.
Now, here's where the technical side gets really interesting. How they target social media.
Right.
We all know platforms like Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp. They're vital in a crisis.
Right.
The source details how they've evolved from crude DNS blocking.
Which is like just taking a website out of the phone book. Easy to get around.
To something much more advanced. Deep Packet Inspection, or DPI. Can you break down what DPI is for us?
Absolutely. So DNS blocking just hides the address. Deep Packet Inspection it's far more sophisticated. Think of internet traffic traveling in little digital envelopes.
Yep.
DPI means the state can essentially open that envelope, read the contents, and then decide to restrict it based on what's inside, not just where it's going.
So they can see you're making a WhatsApp video call.
Exactly. They can identify that specific type of traffic and just slow it way, way down, making the service useless even if you're not totally blocked.
And that explains the severe throttling people report. And they can do this so quickly because the whole digital infrastructure is so centralized.
Yes. The state telecommunications company, CANTV, is the dominant provider. It's the primary internet backbone for the whole country.
The ultimate choke point.
It is. It gives them a single direct control point to push out these blocking directives across almost the entire network instantly.
And there's a history here. The source reminds us of things like sophisticated cyber attacks against state infrastructure, like the oil company PDVSA.
It does. Those past incidents showed a high level of technical capability for both external attack and internal manipulation.
So in the face of all this layered system of control, the story shifts.
It shifts to the resilience and adaptability of the Venezuelan people. And if you look at the data, the single most definitive signal of this crisis behavior right now.
What is it?
It's the explosive, almost unprecedented growth in Tor network usage.
The figures are staggering, right?
They are. The data shows Tor connections from Venezuela have increased by several thousand% in just a few days.
Wow.
This is not a small uptick. This is one of the most dramatic surges ever recorded globally. It means tens of thousands of people are actively seeking anonymity because they know the normal channels are compromised.
And Tor is strategically important. It's not just a standard VPN, is it?
No, it's different. It offers a layer of political anonymity. A standard VPN encrypts your traffic, but it still connects to a known server that can be blocked. Tor, or the onion router, wraps your connection in multiple layers of encryption and then bounces it through a bunch of volunteer-run servers around the world.
So it's much harder to trace.
Extremely difficult, if not impossible, for state actors. It's designed specifically for that.
But they're not just relying on software. We're seeing these clear adaptive strategies.
People are using these brief windows of connectivity, when the power is on or the throttling eases up,
To do what?
to cause these massive spikes in downloads of encrypted communication apps, VPNs, and this is crucial, offline maps.
That shows they're preparing for the next blackout.
It's proactive preparedness.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're coordinating, sharing access, shifting to low bandwidth text because they know high bandwidth stuff won't work.
And then you have this external, maybe game-changing intervention, Starlink.
Right. Starlink steps in and announces free internet access for Venezuela until February 3rd, 2026.
Which is huge. As a satellite solution, it just bypasses all the state-controlled infrastructure.
It bypasses everything. The CAN-TV backbone, the local control mechanisms. It's totally independent. That's its biggest tactical advantage.
It's a potential lifeline, but there's a catch.
There is a big catch, the economic reality. Access isn't automatic. You need the specialized equipment, the dish, the router, a power supply.
And the cost for that is what?
The retail cost is around $599 plus shipping.
Wait, $600? In a country with a severe economic crisis?
Yeah.
That's an immense hurdle.
It is. It means Starlink isn't really a solution for the individual, it's a solution for the community.
But once that equipment is up and running,
A single terminal can provide pretty robust connectivity for a lot of users in its Wi-Fi range. It becomes a neighborhood access point. People can pool their resources.
beyond Starlink and Tor, we're also seeing some truly local grassroots innovation.
Yes, the source mentions community efforts, including improvised mesh networks popping up in some neighborhoods.
Explain mesh networks.
They're the ultimate decentralized solution. They let users communicate directly with each other locally without ever touching the national grid.
So even if the power is out and the internet is down,
These low-power networks let them keep sending limited local communications, text messages, coordinates, warnings. It's a crucial internal fail-safe.
this digital isolation, it's so much more than a technical problem. It has devastating real-world consequences.
Absolutely.
We're seeing it accelerate economic collapse. It's crippled e-commerce, remote work is basically gone, and it's complicated even basic financial transactions.
And critically, it hits families where it hurts the most. Remittances.
The money sent home from Venezuelans abroad.
It's a fundamental lifeline for millions of people. And as digital payment platforms fail, getting that money becomes incredibly difficult. People have to resort to riskier, slower, physical cash couriers.
And the risks aren't just economic, they're physical and legal.
The government has been using those vague laws we talked about earlier to frame the use of VPNs, Tor, any circumvention tool as a potential national security violation.
Which creates targeted enforcement.
Exactly. Your average person downloading a VPN might be low risk. But if you're a journalist, a human rights worker, or part of the opposition,
Here, target.
you face the highest risk of detention or prosecution. Just trying to get uncensored information carries a real physical risk.
And this fear, combined with the shutdowns, it creates this massive widening digital divide. The impact isn't uniform.
Not at all. In urban centers, wealthier neighborhoods with backup power or the money for a Starlink terminal, they can maintain some intermittent connection.
But in rural areas and poorer urban zones,
You're looking at near-complete, sustained information blackouts.
Wow.
They're left with only state-approved media. It's an information desert.
it's interesting the source notes that some border regions have better access because they can sometimes connect to networks in neighboring countries.
Which just highlights how uneven that landscape is.
Looking forward, what's the trajectory here?
Well, if the instability continues, we have to expect the government to get more sophisticated. More aggressive VPN blocking, more advanced DPI, and maybe even criminalizing the possession of satellite equipment like Starlink terminals.
And even if, by some miracle, political stability returned tomorrow,
The physical infrastructure is so damaged, so underinvested, it would take months, if not years, to rebuild. The challenges are deep and structural.
so if we synthesize this whole deep dive, the essential conflict is pretty clear.
It's the state's strategic targeting of information flow.
Versus a resilient, technologically adaptive population seeking what you could call information sovereignty.
And they're using every tool they have. Tor, community-funded Starlink, grassroots, mesh networks, everything.
And the intermittent nature of it all is so key. It's not a clean shutdown, it's unpredictable. It's a rolling blackout that just maximizes confusion and uncertainty.
Which is probably a more effective political weapon than total silence. It just exacerbates that divide between who's connected and who isn't.
The whole situation really shows that information infrastructure fragility
isn't just a technical oversight. It's a critical vulnerability that can be weaponized with surgical precision.
It can.
And for you as a learner, the real challenge is understanding how this technological arms race between state censors and user-deployed workarounds is fundamentally shaping human rights and democracy in the 21st century.
And when you see something like Starlink bypassing national borders and centralized control, it raises this profound question. Does true communication independence rely on this fragile, centralized state infrastructure? Or is the future of digital freedom found somewhere else?
In decentralized, community-driven, and truly borderless solutions like these grassroots mesh networks.
It's a challenge that spans from a remote neighborhood in Venezuela all the way to your own digital rights.